Now, I promised before the break a look at some of the cool projects that you've done for clients. So we'll start bringing up some pictures. These are companies that you've helped place in interesting, successful spaces for them. Let's take a look first at HubSpot and tell us, describe what we're looking for, or what we're looking at here.
Sure. Well, HubSpot's based in Cambridge. They are one of the real superstars in the Boston area technology world. This is their play space. They're at a former mill building in Cambridge, and this space, I think what we're finding with a lot of spaces is they have multi-use. So at one point this could be a company meeting space, another time you could find people playing foosball, and they could have a company meeting there.
Anything behind the color? Very bright.
Yeah, again, versatile, and so that it allows you to shoot a company video on one hand, and then have a company party the next night.
Autodesk was another one that we were talking about, and this I think is, I don't feel like I've ever seen this anywhere before.
Really cool space. I think the neat story about this project was Autodesk gave us very tight locational parameters that quite frankly allowed only a couple buildings to be considered, and the building that was exactly where they wanted to go was really a pretty uninspired, ordinary office building. And Autodesk is anything but uninspired and ordinary. And so we were able to negotiate a really creative deal structure that allowed Autodesk long-term control of the building without purchasing it. So their architects and contractors could go in, literally blow the inside of the building out and build these wonderful conference rooms that you see sort of hanging out over the lobby.
And we're looking at the Autodesk does design software, enables you to visualize things before they're built. We've actually had them on the show. It's an incredibly cool company, what they do all day. Another incredibly cool company locally, kayak.com, superb travel website recently bought by Priceline.com. Describe the project that you did with Kayak.
We were involved with 2 leases for Kayak in Concord, Massachusetts, where Kayak has their R&D center. And again, they went into an old Genrad building. You may not have even heard of Genrad, General Radio, 1950, 60, pretty uninspired building. Had been renovated, but Kayak went in with their architects and really tried to design some neat, exciting space. I think a trend we see with a lot of our clients is really no offices, all open space, lots of collaboration, lots of communication in the space.
Kayak, I know, is famous for it's 1 out of 3 complaints that come in on the phone, and engineers have to be there to answer it, and the CEO says, the 5th time an engineer's heard about a problem, he tends to go in and rewrite the software to fix it.
Right.
So another one, interesting company called Black Duck, which describe what they do and what you do for them.
Sure. Well, Black Duck is in the software business. They help a lot of companies when they have to sort of, and I'm not a technologist, but trace back code to make sure that it can be understood and understand who owns that code. So when companies go public, to understand the IP and who owns the IP is really important. But the Black Duck space story was that they were in Waltham, Massachusetts. Grew very rapidly and found themselves in a very sort of old-fashioned, backward-thinking office space. 70% offices, 30% cubes. You walked in, you did not get inspired. And I give their management team a lot of credit because they hired us and said, basically, help us understand what are the new trends in the workplace and how can we create a place where the best and the brightest come to interview and say, I have to work at Black Duck. So ultimately, we helped them negotiate, and we oversaw the construction and architecture of a wonderful spot up in Burlington. And one of the unique things I mentioned about Black Duck is when you walk in the front, you walk right into their kitchen and cafeteria, which is a new trend we're finding. So guests get this automatic connection to Buzz. They can sit down and they can relax as opposed to sort of the old-fashioned reception area.
A little bit like coming to somebody's house through the kitchen door rather than the formal front door with the living room. And then finally, you mentioned in the first segment LogMeIn, a company you helped relocate from Woburn down to the Innovation District in Boston. A lot of companies doing that these days.
We're in the middle of the LogMeIn project, so they haven't moved yet, Peter, and really, really exciting. We're going to be incorporating some first in Boston design elements to that space, so we're excited to unveil those and have LogMeIn unveil them in a matter of a month or 2. I think the management team at LogMeIn, again, looked introspectively at their long-term growth, connection to the engineering community and technology community, and ultimately decided for them moving to Boston, the seaport, was important. I have to say the Menino administration, the mayor's office, was wonderful in working with us and Logmein and helping manage some of the process. And they're going to go from, again, a very traditional private office, some open space environment to a complete open office plan. No offices. Really, really exciting.